Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what is my time? My time is a set of experiences that have happened over my lifetime that I hope will be of value to you. Hi, I'm Mike Litton, and this is the Mike Litton Experience, and this is my time. So years ago, when I was 9 years old, I convinced my grandfather to teach me how to drive. I had worked on him for months and months and months to teach me how to drive. And he agreed right in the middle of a alfalfa field full of hay bales. True story. So there was a 40-acre parcel that was on the south part of the home place in Oklahoma, our grandfather's farm in Oklahoma. And on that 40 acres was alfalfa that he grew every year. He grew every year. And that field had literally bales of alfalfa hay all throughout it. So if you've ever seen a field with alfalfa with rectangular bales in it, there's bales every few feet. So my grandfather in the middle of this field said, okay, slide over here. Let's slide the seat up, because it was one of those bench seats. Let's slide the bench seat up, which I did. And I got in the driver's side and I could barely reach the pedals. So he told me, he said, listen, you're gonna learn how to drive. Your mother learned how to drive backwards, and you are too. So you're going to drive backwards through this whole hayfield. If you hit one bale, you're done. You're not going to learn how to drive for years. So no pressure, right? So I drove for what seemed like almost an hour all throughout this hayfield backwards. Now there were times when I had to stop and I had to move around, I had to reposition and all that, but I had to stay going backwards, right? So then Grandad made me drive backwards going home, which I did. I drove backwards a couple of miles. I drove backwards going home. We got to the house and Grandma wagged her finger at him. He said, you better wait out here. He went in the house. He came back out and he said, well, that took care of the driving backwards thing. But that's how I learned how to drive. So I learned how to drive driving backwards. And the idea was everybody learns how to drive driving forward, right? But in that neck of the woods, you've got to be able to park trailers. You've got to be able to manipulate things and park your truck where you can load and unload and that kind of thing. So there are a lot of different things that you need to learn on the farm specifically about driving, and most of it has to do with the backing up part. You need to learn how to use your mirrors, right? So one of the things that happened was after Grandma gave my grandfather a tongue lashing, right? We didn't have to drive backwards as much, but we learned how to drive forward quite a bit. And I learned how to drive that pickup truck. And then after I learned how to drive the pickup truck, then it was time to learn how to drive the wheat truck, which was really scary because I couldn't reach the pedals. And a 1953 Ford wheat truck is a little bit rough to operate when it's got no power steering, and it's basically you have to push the clutch all the way to the floor. My legs weren't that long, so I had to figure out how to do it. And one day, the Grandad was cutting wheat, and the ranch hand that he had called in sick, and there was nobody else left to go to the elevator, and so I got told that I was going to take that wheat to the elevator. So I was nervous. You can't even imagine how scared I was. I thought I was going to throw up the entire time, and I ended up driving from the farm to the Blackwell Co-op, and driving into this area that's in the silo where you dump the wheat, that's really, really close to both of the rear view mirrors. I mean, this thing is just a tight fit. I don't know how else to explain it. It was not far from each mirror on either side. And I knew I couldn't disappoint my grandfather. I was so nervous, I can't even tell you. I was sweating bullets. So I drive in, I dump the wheat, I drive back out. When I drive back out, I get the scare of a lifetime. The scare of a lifetime. I'm 9 years old. I can't even reach the pedals. I'm managing. I'm not doing that good, but I'm managing, right? I look up and there's an Oklahoma Highway Patrol officer sitting, waiting for me to come out of that. And I don't know if he followed me up there. He probably did, but he's waiting for me to get back on the road. So I get back on the road. I'm super nervous. He's behind me the entire time. He follows me all the way out to the field. So he follows me all the way back from town, all the way back to my grandfather's farm and out onto the field. And he drives onto the field next to my grandfather's combine. Grandad stops the combine. That's the implement, the machine that we use to harvest the wheat. It's the thing that you see with the tumbler out front, and shoots out a bunch of dust and straw out of the back. That's called a combine, or what they call a threshing machine back there. And what it basically does is it collects the wheat, right? So it's cutting the wheat and it's processing it, it's stripping the wheat from the chaff, right? And it's putting it in the bin. So I pull in. I am so nervous. I think I'm going to throw up, right? I think I'm going to jail. I'm not joking. I'm like, all these different things are going through my mind. And Red gets out of, this guy's name is Red, this highway patrol officer, gets out of his cruiser, walks over to my grandfather's combine. Grandad had shut it down now and was coming down off the combine. And he reached over and he pointed at me, which made me even more nervous, right? He pointed at me and he asked my grandfather, I found out later, asked my grandfather, he said, "Is that Marilyn's boy?" And he said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, it is." And he goes, "Let me tell you something. He drives better than his mother. He's good to go. You're fine letting him go back and forth." He goes, "I just wanted to let you know, I followed him every inch of the way back here, and he's a good driver. He's not the best. He's got some work to do. He's got some practice that he needs, but he's really doing his best, and he's doing a good job." And he said, "So he's good to go. You can let him go back and forth to the thing. To the elevator. I just wanted to let you know." My grandfather got the biggest smile on his face. I still thought I was in trouble because I couldn't hear what they were saying. I was sitting in the wheat truck, sweating bullets and praying that I wasn't going to get hurt or something, right, or thrown in jail or whatever. Anyway, what I learned was there wasn't anybody else. It wasn't a comfortable situation. It scared me to death. And I probably have gray hairs because of it, right? But I was 9 years old, couldn't reach the pedals, didn't have any experience doing it, but I did it because I loved my grandfather and I never wanted to let him down. And I wanted to pull my weight. I wanted to do what I could do to help with the chores at the farm. And so what I learned resourcefulness, but I also learned risk taking. I learned that you need to go and you need to do your best. You need to go take risks. I'm not suggesting that you drive a wheat truck at 9 years old, but what I am suggesting to you is you need to take chances in life. You need to just go. You need to just step off the cliff and you need to just give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance. No matter what it is that you're thinking about doing or you want to do, go take the risk. Go do it. Go figure out a way to make it work. Even if you don't necessarily know what you're doing or you're not all that prepared, go do it. Because chances are you're either going to learn or you're going to succeed. You're either going to learn or you're going to succeed. And according to Tony Robbins, you either learn, you learn more from failing than you do from succeeding. When you succeed, you party. When you fail, you ponder. And that's where the learning comes from. I hope you have an amazing day. This was another episode of Mike Time. If you like our program, please rate us on wherever it is that you get your podcasts. And please tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program. Smash that subscribe button, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care. Bye-bye. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.